And when we begin our practice, we want to be comfortable as possible. And we can take our left hand onto our heart space, right hand onto the belly, and just roll the shoulders back and down, and then just give the spine a little bit of a release here as you find that seat. And maybe it's cross-legged, maybe it's the soles of the feet together. And you can close the eyes if you wish to. And start to soften the areas around the face, the forehead, the temples, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw. And find that steady flow of breath, breathing in and out through the nostrils. Just observing, noticing the breath as it comes in. And letting go, releasing tension and tightness as you breathe out. And as you feel your palms of your hands connected onto your body, one deep down into the dantian, the lower abdomen, one at the heart space, at the chest. You can feel the palms rise on your inhale and fall on your exhale. And you also feel this connection, this warmth. And allow a softness to your breath and to your physical posture here. Just observing how you feel today. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Taking those moments of self-study. One of the 8 limbs of yoga, the svadhyaya. And svadhyaya is learning about yourself to bring you to an understanding of your true nature. And through meditation, observation, self-enquiry, deep listening, and reflection, we gain a richer sense of what it means to be human and to be yourself. Maybe you wish to set an intention for your practice today, whatever that is for you, anything that resonates with you, reminding yourself that this is a restorative practice to nourish, to heal, to nurture. Or maybe you wish to dedicate your practice to somebody you love, somebody close to you, or strangers, or to the world at this time. And release the hands away from the body. Take the backs of the hands to the knees. Sit nice and tall. Wiggle the fingers. Move into the wrists nice and slowly. Again, that self-enquiry, deep listening, and then circle through the shoulders. So just letting go of your day, anything that has transpired for you today, you can leave that out of your room. And let's come into a tabletop position for just a few rounds of cat and cow to mobilize into the spine before we come into our first postures. Again, this is self-study here, so you just want to find what works for you. You might wish to circle the hips around, releasing into the spine. Finding the breath that works with the movement. Inhaling for your cow, exhaling for your cat. And just bringing yourself back into kneeling at the back of your mat or wherever you are, and then just take a gentle twist here. So holding onto the front knee, reaching the hand back, and just open up the chest nice and gently. You don't have to force that at all. It's just releasing through the spine, through a rotation. Bring yourself center, exhaling, taking it to the other side. Bring yourself center, lift the arms up, side stretch over one way as you breathe out. Breathing in, side stretch over to the other side. Then just interlace the fingers, push the knuckles away as you scoop the belly back, rounding the shoulders. You're pushing the shoulder forward here. Dropping chin to chest and then lifting the arms up above the head. Interlace the fingers still and push the palms away as you lift the chest. Big stretch through the fingers, through the arms, through the sides of the body. Feel soft through the throat and the neck. And then nice and slowly release the hands down by the side. So let's come into a supported child's pose. So I have a bolster over the top of 2 blocks. If you've got two bolsters, that would work as well. If you've got blankets, you might wish to pad out the knees either side of you if you're on a hard surface. But take the knees nice and wide, big toes come together, and just start to bring yourself down and making sure that the bolster doesn't move, or the pillow, whatever you're using here. So just resting yourself down. You might wish to hold on to the bolster or a pillow, whatever you have underneath you, and just turning the head over to the side. So with restorative practice, this is all about comfort. It is about being in a place where you don't need to move. You can relax, let go, and there is no edge to find. It is very different to a yin practice, which is where we want to feel something. And here we want to allow our body to be relaxed, soft, and heavy. And instead of being in these postures and letting the mind wander onto other things, just be present with yourself. Have that moment of self-enquiry, deep listening, deep relaxation, and nourishment. Focus on the breathing and the deep sense of release and letting go. Taking a nice deep breath in. Bring the head back into center. Relax the neck and the shoulders. Just feel the pressure into the forehead there on your prop. And then bring the hands down to the mat as you just gently push yourself away, starting to roll up a little bit through the spine. Taking time to come out of these postures is really important as well after spending a few minutes there. And then let's make our way onto our backs for a supported bridge. So you can use a bolster underneath the hips in your supported bridge, and maybe you wish to use a blanket underneath the head or the shoulders. That's really nice as well. So I'm going to place a blanket right at the top for my head and shoulders. And just making sure that when you come into these postures, you feel comfortable and you can stay and hold for a number of minutes. And if you've got your hair tied up and that bubble is digging into the back of the skull or into the back of your neck, just really make sure that nothing is going to distract you. And if you feel that you need to rest the knees in towards one another, you can do that as well. Or you can just keep the feet in line with the knees, in line with the hips. And really give that prop underneath the hips all of the weight. So feel the belly soften. Feel the pelvis relax and release, certainly around the hip joints. You can start to relax into all of the gluteal muscles. And with all of these restorative postures today, you shouldn't have to be putting in any effort at all to hold or to find the stillness. So if in anything something becomes uncomfortable, please do move out of the posture to make sure that you find a place of comfort. Returning back to that self-study, svadhyaya. Keep reminding yourself to become present, not letting the mind be pulled away to other thoughts. Use these postures as meditation for the breath, focusing on the inhales and the exhales, and this peace and calm that you can give yourself in what is often quite busy days, busy weeks, busy lives. Nice and slowly here, if you had widened your feet to the outer edges, just gently heel toe those back into center. Then just nice and slowly just draw one knee in towards the chest. You keep the hips up on top of the bolster a little bit there, and you can just roll out through the spine on top of your pillow or your bolster. And then just hug the knees, lengthening the neck. Don't force the thighs in towards the body too much here, but relax the shoulders, relax the upper back, spread out the spine underneath you. Just feel this release nice and softly. Release the hands, release the feet. Press into the feet to lift the hips, to slide the bolster or the pillow out from underneath you. Roll all the way down and just take the legs nice and long just to lay completely flat. Soften into the feet, the ankles, the knees, the legs. Just allow the body to respond and recover. Take your time to roll over to one side. Going to come up to a little bit of an inversion here, so you can use a bolster or two blocks on top of one another. So it's a wide-legged forward fold. So you might actually place two blocks on top of one another. The head just rests on the top there. And if you've got that pillow or a bolster, that does the same job there. So we're going to stand up, take the feet nice and wide. And turn those toes in. Heels turn out. And just release into the feet and the ankles, bending into the knees a little bit, just coming into the heels and the toes. And then relaxing the hands down. We're going to rest the head on top of your prop. We're not here for long. It's just 2 minutes. So you can make sure that you are steady and comfortable. You can feel the pressure of the forehead resting on whatever your prop you've chosen to use here. Try to relax as much as you can as you let all of that blood just rush into the brain. Deep, slow breaths. And slowly place the hands down. Lift the head away as you breathe in. Heel toe the feet in a little bit and bring the knees down. Take a moment's rest. Just kneel. I'm going to come into a prone posture called surfboard. So the bolster goes lengthways underneath the belly. If you've got a blanket or a little pillow, you can roll that up, and that can then go underneath your ankles at the back. And at the front, depends how much you need to support the head here, but you might wish to put a block and then a blanket over the top, or as soon as you lie down, you'll start to find where you need to support the head. But make sure that the hips and the torso come all the way onto your pillow or your bolster, and then the head, again, it either rests on that blanket or on the block. So making sure that everything is supported here. I'm just going to push my blanket back a touch underneath my ankles. So the hips, the chest are on your pillow, and that's where you give all of your weight. We're here for just a short while, 3 minutes. So making sure that you can breathe through the gap between the pillow and your support for your head. And really give all of the weight of your body into your prop underneath you. Bolster, pillows. Really try and relax into the lower back here. Relaxing the lower back into the belly, and the belly relaxing into the bolster. Relaxing into the chest, the shoulders melt, and the head feels heavy, softening into the neck. Taking that deep breath in and that deep breath out. Preparing the mind for movement. Bringing the hands back towards the body, and just press yourself up gently through the tabletop, and just pull yourself back nice and gently, and give yourself a little hip wiggle, and release into child's pose as you stretch the spine. And let's come into a wide-legged seated fold. So again, you can use your bolster propped up with blocks, just as you started with that child's pose, and you might wish to sit on a blanket. And the legs go as wide as is comfortable for you, but make sure that the bolster or the pillow that you're using is quite close to the torso, so that you can release down. And maybe if you've got another spare blanket, you can use that at the top for the head. So it's all just about supporting everything and not having to hold things up and in place. And then resting the chest, the belly down, turning the head onto one side, and the hands just rest underneath whatever you're using here. It's more about that nothing is pulling and you're not, meeting that edge. So here, really try and relax through the spine, relax through the legs, particularly through the inner thighs and groin. If you've got the head turned to the side, you might just like to bring that back into the center and gently turn it to the other side so that you give the neck an equal stretch. And nice and slowly bringing the head back into the center, just rest onto the forehead. Make sure you can breathe, just feel the pressure into third eye area. Breathing in and out, slow, long, deep breaths, preparing to move, bringing the hands by the blocks and the bolster and just gently rolling up through the spine, keeping chin in towards the chest, not rushing. Last thing, just unfold the neck, lifting up the head and the gaze, and then just lift the knees. Bring them in a little bit closer and just give yourself a bit of a hug here. You can take the hands down onto the ankles and just rest there. Just allow the inner thighs to respond. And then roll up through the spine. And let's come down onto our backs once more for a supported spinal twist. So you can take, depends if you've got one or two bolsters or pillows or cushions, whatever you've got. So you can have one bolster to the side of you, and you might wish to put a blanket underneath the hip because that can be a little bit uncomfortable as well. And then taking the left arm out to the side, making sure that all of the leg fits on your pillow. And as I say, if you've got another pillow or another bolster, you can place that behind you. So one kind of flanks you behind the spine and one is your prop to support the leg. And this right arm just simply rests on your hip or on your pillow or your cushion or bolster. So really it's a very, very soft spinal twist. We're not trying to open up the chest. We're not trying to draw down that right shoulder in any way. And the head may just look along the left arm towards the left palm. It doesn't even have to look towards the sky. So you see here that this is much more of a supportive spinal twist than what we usually do in yin or hatha practice. Again, allowing the posture to nurture you, remaining present and focusing on the breath here. And whilst you're laying here, just notice if any parts of the body feel tight or tense or you're gripping. Try and relax through all of the muscle groups, particularly into the outer hips and the gluteal muscles again. Really breathe into this gentle twist here. Breathing into the rotation of the spine. Taking a deep breath in, and a deep breath out, preparing the mind and body to move, which means moving the back bolster first, releasing the top leg, bringing yourself back onto your back fully, and then just gently drop those knees in towards one another. Bring the hands to the belly and just rest for 1 minute here. Take it nice and slowly to swap your props over to the other side. Making sure the whole of that left lower leg is supported and you again are comfortable underneath that hip. Bringing that back bolster in to support and cradle you, and rest the left arm on that bolster. And the gaze can look along towards the right palm, or you might just wish to take it up to the sky if it doesn't bother the neck. And just settle into the other side. Same amount of time, obviously, right to left. Notice, those first few moments, the first few breaths, any differences from the other side. Let go of all of that tension, tightness, and gripping around the joints and the larger muscle groups. Taking a deep breath in and out. Preparing the mind and body to move and just sliding away that support bolster or pillow, rolling gently back over onto the back. Take the feet wide, knees just resting together. Bring the hands onto the belly. And heel toe the feet into parallel. Gently draw the right and then the left. Knees in towards the chest. Make this nice and soft. You can roll from side to side. Just release through the spine. You might like to circle the knees around. We have one more posture to come into, which is legs up against the wall. And again, this is your choice as to whether you put a blanket underneath the hips or you might wish to use a bolster or a pillow or a cushion. So if you need to go off screen, you can. And just wiggling yourself and again using something maybe underneath the shoulders or the head to pad out. And just getting yourself into the posture takes some time. But if you have a strap handy as well, this also helps in kind of the relaxation of the posture, is that you make a loop big enough that it's going to go over your calves and then just pull the strap so it keeps the legs nicely together. It takes a bit of getting into, but once you're there, you can rest the hands out to the side. Close the eyes. This is our longest posture. So we are here for about 10 minutes. So the hips can be slightly lifted, slightly elevated. It's a slight inversion. So if you do suffer with any heart conditions or dizziness, low or high blood pressure, this one might be nice if you lower the hips a little bit, but making sure that the shoulder blades are spread out, the neck is nice and long and relaxed. And you can really drop the weight of the legs and the hips and pelvis into whatever prop you're using. We're here for just a couple more minutes. Continuing to release the weight from the legs and hips into the prop. Focusing on the breath, deep inhales, deep exhales. Really being present with the mind's thoughts and that self-study, self-enquiry, and the deep listening. Taking a deep breath in, a deep sigh out. Bringing the feet down. If you took the option with the strap, just take the strap away nice and carefully and come out nice and safely, rolling over to one side, taking away that prop and just lie on your side for a moment. Don't need to rush to come back. And taking your time to bring your head up, making your way onto your mat for your final relaxation in Shavasana. And if you've got those blankets or pillows, you can use that to support the head. And if you've got a bolster or a cushion, use that to support the knees, but make sure that you're nice and warm. We're there for a number of minutes in Shavasana. So make sure you've got socks and jumpers and blankets and you're fully held, fully supported in this Shavasana. Making sure that if you've got jewelry, hair ties, tight clothing, you're not going to need to fidget throughout the next 10 minutes in deep relaxation. And so now as you lie back, just take in the practice. Take in this restoration. Yoga is all about balance. It's not just the yang style, hatha and flow practices. It is about the slowing down and the nourishing practices, just like restorative, and a little bit of the yin. Without the yang, we need the yin. Without the yin, we need the yang. And yoga teaches us a lot about ourselves through the mental practice of meditation and breath work, but also from the physical. And each and every yoga practice, when you come to the mat, is a different experience. So we should never come to the mat with expectation. But it is about self-study and Svadhyaya. Deep within our psyche lies our unconscious blueprints laid down by our ancestors and genealogical chain, and then by ourselves as we walk our path. Svadhyaya is the practice of finding an alleyway into our intrinsic nature, to understand ourselves through observation, mindfulness, and self-study. When we start to delve into the tide of our personal history and gain a snapshot of our patterns and conditioning, we will become less of a puppet to the loops of behavior. It is from this that we can truly take ownership of how we live our lives. Non-judgmental, non-criticism study allows us to lean into our life and mindfully observe our actions, our words, our thoughts, including our reactions and also our tendencies. When we take the time to sit and just be, to take the time to examine ourselves and our life, we give ourselves permission and the space and time to learn and grow. In yoga, the term samskara has been likened to a hamster wheel that cements us in a loop of behavioral patterns. Like a tire spinning in the mud, the more we spin, the deeper the rut becomes until we are stuck. The more we repeat a behavior, a thought, or an action, the harder it is to break away. The only way out is to try something different. To step off the hamster wheel, you first need to find a way to stop it turning. The practice of yoga, and any type or any style or any lineage of yoga, helps bring attention to your ruts and to your habits. When you lovingly lead awareness to your samskara, your relationship to it will also undoubtedly change. I'll leave you to silence for your own shavasana and let you know when it's time to come back around. Beginning to take some deeper breaths, first of all. Just awakening yourself back from your relaxation. Bringing the physical body back into the surroundings, into your room and onto the mat by starting to move the hands or the feet or choosing to stretch. Drawing knees in and just rolling out through the spine. And just take the time to roll over to one side and just stay there for a moment. Bringing yourself up to that comfortable seat where you began your practice. Bringing the hands into the heart center. And just sit nice and tall, but we don't have to be rigid here. I want you to be comfortable and relaxed. And just take a moment to check in with yourself. Ask yourself these questions that, how are you mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually after much of a nourishing, restorative, self-care practice gives to you. And also just returning back to your own personal intention, or maybe that dedication. Just rub the palms of your hands together here. Create some heat, create some warmth. Take the palms of the hands, just cupping the eyes. Embrace the darkness behind the palms. Feel the warmth. Feel the energy. Feel the fingertips connecting to the third eye and to the crown. And gently blink the eyes open behind the palms. Let the light come in through the cracks. And just release the hands down to the knees. And always thank yourself for your practice. And I thank you today. Namaste.